Hello, welcome to Dungeon Doors Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Today, like I promised, I'm reviewing the 1995 Cyberpunk movie, Johnny Mnemonic, starring Keanu Reeves, Dina Meyer, Ice-T, Takeshi beat Kitano. He's just credited as Takeshi, though. He plays Takahashi in the movie. You got Dennis Akiyama, Dolph Lundgren, Henry Rollins, Udo Kier, and I mentioned IC. Yeah, I mentioned IC. So I have some history with this movie. I used to. This movie would play a lot on TV when I was a kid, but it would always play at like 8 o'clock, right? And I had my bedtime was 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. So it's like I would only ever get to watch like the first half of the movie. So for the longest time, like I never saw like the ending to this movie, and I always thought this movie as a kid was super cool because there's the cyberpunk stuff in it. There's the ultra violence. You had the guy with the yakuza guy with the laser whip. You had like on the TV they showed images of this really cool ultra violent anime, which is Demon City Shinjuku, which is directed by Yoshiaki Kajiri, if I don't have that mistaken, which is based off a novel. I actually have the novel. I can review it if anybody wants me to. So yeah, I didn't see the ending, like the ending to this movie, this movie is like I think an hour and 44 minutes. I have it on Blu-ray. Let me double check. Hour and 37 minutes. Yeah, weird. On the 30. Yeah, it's 30. Well, on the Blu-ray it says an hour and 36 minutes and 42 seconds. On like IMDb it said like 140 something. Whatever. Yeah, so I didn't see the second half until like high school, and I fucking hate it. Loved the beginning of the movie, hated the second half. But how do I feel about it now that I'm almost 30? Oh well, but first let's get on to what the story is about. Keanu Reeves is Johnny Mnemonic, an elite agent who is hired to deliver a vital message past the Yakuza by storing the encrypted information in his wet-wired brain. In the year 2021, the downloaded message exceeds his storage capacity. Without knowing its importance, he races to get this toxic message out of his brain before it kills him. Well, he has like 360 gigs of information in his brain. Oh, the movie. What's cool about this movie? It's set in 2021, which is another reason why I'm reviewing this movie, because we're now living in the time that this movie takes place in. But yeah, Johnny Mnemonic is a data courier. He smuggles information in his augmented brain. He has memory augments. He likes to give things, the finer things in life. Room service, having his suits and shirts laundered, and 10,000 a night hookers. But he had to pay a steep price for his current lifestyle, which is he had to make space for his room for his memory augment. He had to get rid of his childhood and past, so he doesn't even know his last name. He goes by sometimes he goes by John Smith in the movie, like in the beginning. So what happens is he goes to China to meet these scientists, one of which is played by a Canadian Asian actor who's in like a lot of 90s sci-fi stuff. He was in Earth's Final Conflict. He was also in Tech War, the first Tech War movie, and he was in Degrassi as the father of the chick who uploaded pics of her boobs online because she wanted to be an actress. It's like, dumb bitch, you're like putting out CP on it. And her dad kicked her base Asian dad kicks her out, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. So yeah, he's in the movie. What happens is he gets the shit uploaded in his brain, and then you see like the passcode is like 3 random images on the TV, which they have trouble. A whole subplot of the movie is trying to get the password because he has the one of the images, and like the Yakuza has two of the other images, or sorry, one of the images. One of the other images was destroyed. When like all they needed to do was find out what was airing on TV that night, because that's how the code was formed. This they just flipped channels, so random images that were on TV, that was the passcode. So all they needed to do was find out what was airing on TV, because they had the one of the codes, right? So it would have been super easy to find out the password. But they were like, whatever. That's one of the plot holes in the movie. Yeah. So what happens is he gets the shit to upload in his brain. It's twice his memory capacity, and because of that, like he's in danger of having his memory overload, which will kill him, right? What ends up happening is the Yakuza, led by this guy, Shinji, that's his name, played by Dennis Akiyama, is a Yakuza guy. He is like this laser whip augment on his thumb, which, you see him like cut people's hands off, cut heads off. He cuts Yudo Kier in the movie, who plays Ralphie, in half, who he has like, he has like 2 female bodyguards in the movie. One of them's like a black tranny, who I've seen in like another movie. I think she was, he or she, whatever, was in what was it, like 40-year-old version. Yeah. So like, what happens? The Yakuza attacks. Johnny masquerades as an Asian guy, old Asian guy, gets away, which Keanu Reeves is a Happa, so it wouldn't have been too hard for him to pass as an Asian guy, I guess. Goes back to New York. Turns out he was set up by his agent, Ralphie, and now he has to run from the Yakuza and Pharmacom. And like, there's this whole subplot in the movie where like half the population is suffering from this disease called NES, which is basically caused by, what's his name, Spider, who's played by Henry Rollins, explains it, where like it's caused by basically 5G information overload. So that, yeah, people are dying of this like this disease, and Johnny's bodyguard also is suffering from it, who's played by Dina Meyer, who you'll know from Starship Troopers, Dragonheart, bunch of other stuff. She's really cool in the movie. I like seeing her in movies. It kind of sucks what happened to her, but like that she's not in like a lot of stuff anymore. She was also in that The Evil Within movie, which was directed by this rich junkie. I watched my review of it on the channel. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, so like, yeah, the movie is just Johnny going around trying to find a way to get the information out of his head, while the Yakuza is after him, which is a power struggle between Takeshi, who's played by Takeshi, Kitano, and Shinji. Takeshi hires this crazy cyborg who LARPs as a street preacher, who's played by Dolph Lundgren, who's great in the movie. He has this like cross knife. Yeah, he's pretty badass in the movie. Would have been nice if there was more of him in the movie, but sadly there isn't. There's also in the movie, like, there's scenes where like Johnny is like surfing the web, and it's like all VR and shit, which is the CGI is very dated. And what sucks is like the climax of this movie is a CGI Johnny Mnemonic and a dolphin hacking his brain while they're being attacked by viruses and shit, and it looks fucking awful. Not gonna lie, it looks awful, but yeah. Uh, yeah, this movie, it's the thing where, like, in my opinion, the first half of the movie is great, but the second half is awful. Like, you have really awful costumes in the movie. It's like you have like people with robot arms. It just looks like people with, it just looks like they have like gloves on and shit. Which is why I think they went for like, oh, let's have our cyborgs have like augments so they look human on the outside, but they're robots in the inside. You also have this AI chick in the movie who's supposed to be like the ex-CEO of like Pharmacom, and there's whole subplot where like they have the cure, the pharmaceutical companies have the cure, but they don't want to cure people because it's more profitable to like treat the disease than it is to cure, which is there's a lot of that shit going on today. This movie is pretty based in a lot of ways. Like, this is based off a William Gibson novel from, well, not novel, it's like a short story from the 80s. He predicts a lot of stuff, but that's because, this, a lot of the shit that's been going on now probably has been going on since then, right? And also, I love how in the beginning of the movie, they mention there's like, there's like a narrative crawl, and then you see the term InfoWars. So I don't know if I don't think Alex Jones was calling his show InfoWars back then, but yeah, it's like there's a little like Alex Jones reference there, though it's like an unintentional one, which I don't know, I thought was cool. If I were to give this movie a rating, oh, I should mention the action scenes in the movie are pretty bad. And like you had like Dina Meyer had this like jewelry, which were like these two rings that morph into this like weird like weapon, and she only uses it for like one scene in the movie. So I'm like, what happened to your like ring weapon? Yeah, it turns into like a long baton thing, and like with a knife at the end, where she uses it on the black train with her fight against the black train. Yeah, and like you never see it again in the movie. Yeah, and also there's some bad acting. The cinematography is not the greatest. Fucking Henry Rollins' acting in the movie is like super bad, but like you also have this weird like Ice-T's like group in the movie are called the Low-Techs. And like their outfits are terrible, and they have this like comedy duo in the movie where it's just the one guy. Well, it's just the one guy talking to the other guy, but like he's not really listening. He's fucking awful in the movie, so it's like, why is this guy in here? And there's a reason why this guy Robert Longo, who directed this movie, like hasn't directed anything else, because this movie is kind of bad. But if you're a fan of Cyberpunk, I think that the movie is somewhat watchable, especially the first half. So I'm giving this movie like a 6 out of 10. Check it out at your own discretion. Maybe check out some other reviews. Alright, that's it for my review. I'm also going to review, I don't know when, but I'm also going to review another William Gibson adaptation, New Rose Hotel, which is directed by Abel Ferreira, starring what was his name? Whatever. It's directed by Abel Ferreira. Has Asia Argento, and let me pause. Yeah, sorry. It's a 1998 movie starring Christopher Walken, William Dafoe, and Asia Argento. Yeah, I don't know if the movie's any good or not. Probably, it probably sucks. But Yoshitaka Amano is in the movie for some reason. Who's like who's the designer, the character designer for like Final Fantasy and Tatsunoko Pro Production. So it's gonna be fun to watch the movie just to see him in it. All right, later, guys. Peace.